Right, welcome back. Next part of the video, I want to talk about the some of the recent stage 2 breakout attempts. Not all breakouts from the prior week. Some have already moved out into stage 2 and starting to move a little bit higher following earnings. For example, BRKR here, Bruker Corp, broke out into stage 2 a few weeks ago now, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now made a much bigger push this week following earnings. So start off by talking through some of these. So you can see here relative strength versus the S&P 500 is outperforming. So it's above the 52-week moving average of the stock divided by the S&P 500 here, which we call the zero line. So this is the Mansfield relative strength here. So as you can see, making a higher high here as it starts to break out above a rising zero line, flattening out a little bit there, but obviously starting to turn up. You can see, as I said, starting to break out into stage 2 more convincingly here. We've got a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern going on. Strong stage 1 base developing. We're looking on multiple time frames here. You can see obviously the lower earlier breakout attempt. So through area didn't make much progress, came back in straight away. So it's been chopping around above the flattening to now rising 200-day moving averages. You can see the 50-day crossed above the 200-day, and we've got the 21-day above. So 21-day, 50-day, and then the 200-day moving averages all in the correct stacking order here. You can see we've got a continuation breakout. This was the earnings day here, so continued through on Friday, showing strong relative strength there. So up 3.86% on the day. We go back to the weekly chart of this one, you can see. So starting to move out. We've got a good, big range there. So from the low 48 to the top of the range here. So say 70. So you got 22 on top of that. So projected target up to around 92 area there from the swing measure on this one, which will take you back towards the highs. So potentially got another around a 30% projected move on that one from the base structure here. We look at CRSR, also close to potentially moving into stage 2, not quite there yet. You can see again, a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders base forming on this one. It did have a really large stage 4 decline low following the IPO advance phase here. So this was an immediate move following the IPO straight up towards the highs. So showing really strong strength initially. You can see it had well over 250% move off of the low to the high in only a couple of months in the initial IPO advance phase, before rolling over, starting to pull back down, forming a stage 4 decline here. So starting to form its first primary base since the IPO, really. So which is now forming as a stage 1 base. You can see the moving average crossing above and below multiple times, the 10 above the 30 there. So looking to start breaking out above this 18 kind of area here. So we look at that there. So 18.04 to be exact. There is the level I've drawn, but somewhere around there, you start to get a move through the 18, 19 area on some stronger relative volume. So we get a decent relative volume, more than 2 times the average weekly volume. You can see the relative strength versus the S&P 500 just starting to outperform down here. Look at on the daily chart. You can see there was a big reversal following Thursday into Friday. It's a big gap up, what we call a significant bar. Didn't quite manage to break out. So this level here is marked as the potential stage 2 breakout level as such. But we have still got resistance to get through. So a decent move through 18, as I said, on some stronger volume. On a daily, you want to be looking for 2 to 3 times the average daily volume when you get a breakout move for that to show that power. Doesn't always come, but so obviously that will gives a little bit of extra conviction if you do get a strong move with a strong close. If you do get a strong volume move, you want to see a strong close, daily closing range, as they say. You want to see the bar close near to the top of the bar. Is if you get a big volume but you only get a small bar, then that's obviously an anomaly. So actually showing some distribution and selling pressure coming into there. So what we want to see here is obviously big volume come through, big move up and out to match a strong bar as it breaks out potentially into stage 2. If it can't, we've got a little bit of a double top here, starts to come back in, and obviously that would be a big negative, and it could obviously turn quickly into a short in that regard. But at the moment, developing in stage 1, so we're on watch for a potential stage 2 breakout attempt. TNT also making a stage 2 breakout attempt this week following earnings. So had a really decent stage 2 advance back through 2020 into 2021 before flattening out into a massive stage 3 top. But the stage 4 decline has been fairly contained in this one. Multiple attempts to push lower that have been rejected. As you can see, many times, starting to turn it around. A little bit of an inverse head and shoulders going on. So again, we look at the daily chart on this one. We've got the big significant bar here on Wednesday, gap up following earnings there. So managed to pull back into the stage 2 level there and reverse on Friday. They're holding, so we need to see a continuation attempt on this one, see if it can continue to push out into early stage 2 or whether it falters. If it starts to come back in again, that would be a massive rejection there. So we need to see this to continue to push up and out first before any potential backup attempt. The XCM came up in the watch list again this week. Again, as the earnings came out, it popped up in the after hours. So it was highlighted during the after hours on Thursday here as it started to move back through in the watch list again. You can see the original stage 2 breakout attempt back here, which has managed to hold. So it's in the backup range. So this is a potential secondary entry zone, as we say in the method, where we have the A and the B. So you have the breakout levels, you get your stage 2 breakout point, and then after a while, sometimes you get a backup secondary entry point. So on the reversal, once it pulls back, manages to hold the breakout level and reverse back up into an actionable position again. So generally, little moves like this where it's broken some near-term pivots back through the 50-day moving average, there's potential to consider that potentially a backup entry point. Look at on a lower time frame, see there was a little bit of volume behind that move as well. So a little bit of a stage 2 breakout attempt on a lower time frame as such. So DXCM looking interesting there. GM Motors also last week attempted to move into stage 2, but from a diagonal, so not quite jumping out into stage 2. Some bigger volume coming in with a really reasonably decent bar, but obviously a little bit of selling pressure coming in this week as well. Still hasn't cleared it convincingly, so it's attempting to move into stage 2, but needs much more strength to push up and out yet for any kind of major backup move for a secondary entry there. So, but at the moment, just pushing, attempting to move into stage 2, but obviously not quite there yet. KD, this one's been strong for the last month or so. So it had a stage 2 breakout back at the start of the year there, just before the year began, and then started to move up and out this week with some extra volume coming in. So you can see the move broke out at the start of the year. It's your stage 2 breakout day, and then obviously has made good continuation moves. Earnings gap there on Wednesday is now consolidating, so looking for a continuation break to the upside now on some stronger volume if it does. Microsoft not yet into stage 2, attempted to move into stage 2 this week, so a number of the large caps did. Google obviously selling off, hammered this a bit, to be fair as well. So was pushing out into early stage 2 early in the week, but then rejected and pulled back in, squatted underneath the bar. So could obviously go for a secondary attempt now. If it starts to move back up and out again, then obviously would start to move into stage 2 once more. Doesn't necessarily have to clear the high of that. Could just be some closes up towards this 270 level here, start to get above this breakout level. So potential for that to move into stage 2. Shopify got earnings coming up soon, I believe, maybe on the 15th. Let me just grab a simple summary for this one. 15th, yeah. So this has got earnings coming up very soon this week, next couple of days. So, but it does have significant overhead resistance. So I highlighted this on the chart. Significant overhead resistance from this deep stage 4 decline. So when you have a really deep and long stage 4 decline like this, so you can see from the high to the low there, it dropped off over 80%. So obviously an extreme stage 4 decline there. Obviously from the actual stage 4 level down, see all the way to the bottom of the range. Even that was around 80%. So that's gonna have a lot of trapped buyers, and it can take a long time to get through. We've got this inverse head and shoulders base. We have been basing for almost a year now. So, but even a year-long base after such a deep decline can still have significant resistance for a long time. Good all through this zone up here. It's going to be some heavy going really for it, unless there's some very, very strong volume. So if it does manage to move up and out into that zone, then obviously would expect it to encounter some strong resistance through there. At the moment, moving into what we call the B entry zone. So we've got the A entry zone in the stage analysis method, the stage 2 breakout itself, but now we've got a potential constructive pullback coming in. So if it can come back in, continue to be constructive, and then start to turn back up and around again, then there's your potential secondary entry zone through there. So if we look at this on a daily chart, see that a little bit more clearly. So there's your breakout move here. So initially failed and then followed through the next day, and we've got this pullback move here. The volume's been reasonably low as it's been pulling back, still above the 21-day moving average. So if we do start to push back up and out through here, some stronger volume again coming in, then potentially that could be your secondary entry zone. Doesn't necessarily have to come all the way back into the breakout level. Backup entry point can form at any level, but you obviously want to wait for the turn, wait for some kind of reversal that's still showing constructive action. So contracting volume on the pullback, expanding volume on the continuation break. MVT continuing out to new highs here, so broke out into stage 2 many months ago now, so all the way back here, so back in late October. So making a continuation breakout attempt this week. So again, if we look at this on a daily chart, you can see accelerated to the upside here, got a little bit extended in the short term. So we put the ATR levels on here. You can see we're above the free ATR level at the moment, so we're very extended. So either the moving averages, either it needs to go sideways and the moving averages need to catch up, or we need to see some kind of pullback in towards the moving averages. Ideally, we start to hold that 1 ATR level. So we don't really want to get back through this bar here. This is your significant bar, so you'd want to see this bar hold. So somewhere around that 43 level, potentially, if it does start to pull back in again, looking for some kind of reversal through there. ETN, again, another stage 2 continuation breakout attempt on this one. So moving higher after consolidating stage 2 breakout attempt here a while ago again. So again, late October, been going sideways. So now looking to break to the upside, but hasn't yet broken through the old highs. So go back to the daily chart on this one. You can see here, we've got obviously just 3 days above the near-term level, but we haven't yet broken above to the upside. So there was some strong volume on this day here where it pulled back in. So a lot of resistance as it attempts to push up here at the moment, but looking for continuation break to the upside. See this continuing. Yes, MT. Another one attempting to make a stage 2 breakout attempt, but a lot of resistance in the zone that it's in at the moment, between this 20 to 23 kind of area. So lots of chop happened in that area. You can see the classic structure going on here. So selling climax, automatic rally, secondary tests, further testing here, shake out the bottom of the range, and now it's attempting to break to the upside. So potential spring type action is what we're looking for here. Again, if we go down to the daily chart here, you can see that spring a little bit more convincingly here. Here's your spring type action, higher low test, moving up and breaking up and out. So you've got your Wyckoff entry zones through here, and then secondary entry zones coming in as it moves up and out. Not yet into stage 2, potentially this level here starting to test the stage 2 level, but still with this overhead resistance zone, as I said. So doesn't necessarily need to clear this level in order to move in stage 2, this level around here potentially, because it's above the first pivot, above the 200-day moving average here. So it's a decent enough amount above to be considered moving into potentially early stage 2 here. We're almost 10% above the 200-day moving average. So potentially early stage 2, but needs to do some more work there. Right, moving on. Let's get on to the what